Hello there, and welcome to Hofstra Esports Draft League Season 2. I'm
Yeah,
Cygnus here along with my co-commentators and league staff members.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Armando.
Woo! So here in Season 2 now, unlike Season 1 where we were on doubles, we're going to in a singles format this time. And we
Yeah,
went up from 11 teams to 14. All the more picks,
yeah.
all the more niche picks, all the more fun.
Bigger turnout on people, which I'm pretty excited about.
Definitely.
Yeah, a lot more people interested in the singles format, but it is fair. Draft League is typically played in the singles format, so it makes sense for the excitement for the season 2 comeback here.
Yeah,
Abs- Absolutely. Look at the teams here. We have the defending champs returning, the Drunken Dracovish, alongside my team, Magikarp Mayhem, Armando's Phoenix Proteans, and Daniel's The Judgment Day. We have
yeah. It's me, all right.
also returning are the Baneful Bayonets, Rose Tinted Lenses, Wayward Weaviles, and Long Island Gastrodons. And as for newcomers coming into the mix, introducing the Agents of Shield on Persona Furret, the Ludicrous Lugia. We had the Ludicrous Lugias, the Skeledirge Superstars,
And Team
Indiana,
JMAZ!
in,
Yeah!
woo, and
Yeah,
the Indian Infernapes. Can't forget them too. Yeah, it's quite an exciting field we have this time. Drafts has happened. Week 1 is soon to start, and it's a very exciting time here.
yeah.
Yep.
So today we'll probably be analyzing most of the teams by going like a quick overview of everyone's first round picks, and then doing a probably quicker overview of everyone's teams.
Yeah, just team by
So
team.
yeah, we'll be going by draft order, by the way. So it might look a little different than what you see on the front page.
Yes, yeah. So let's get started. Starting with the team that was lucky enough to draft first overall, we have the Wayward Weaviles, coached by Hunter, and his first overall pick was Great Tusk. What are your guys' thoughts on this pick being first overall?
Yeah, Great Tusk is just a staple in OU. This guy has been top of the usage charts since like day one. He's really just great support, attack, utility, name it all, and Great Tusk can probably do it, except special attack and special defense.
Yeah,
But with stats like
you
that, Great
can't have it
Tusk
all.
doesn't need it.
Yeah, Tusk just has so many tools here.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great Pokemon. I don't know about you guys, but I knew it was going in the first round, but I was a bit surprised to see this Pokemon going the absolute number 1 overall over some of the other options. What are your guys thoughts on that for Hunter?
I mean, specifically
Um,
for, I feel like it just feels so many like of the important singles roles. You know, it can set up rocks, it can get rid of them. It's a really good
Yeah.
sweeper. It's pretty bulky. So to me, it's not too much of a surprise to be first pick, especially
yeah,
from Hunter.
yeah, it's a ground type, which is always like pretty good offensively.
Oh, for sure.
And with those hazards setup and removal tools, it can do a lot on one team slot.
Yeah, this thing is without a doubt one of the best new Pokemon introduced in Generation 9, fittingly given how it's a Paradox Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, good pick there from Hunter.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on to round 2, we have the Ludicrous Lugias, coached by Levin, with our second overall pick in the draft being Mew, worth 15 points, bit of an more unorthodox first round pick.
It's an unorthodox first round pick, but I'd say it's still a very good one. And Mew has access to, of course, every TM in the game.
Yeah,
So,
such a
and
versatile
more
Pokemon.
with its level up move pool.
Then
Yeah,
again, not sure how much that matters given that Levin has been quite vocal about running a metronome based team, which is always a lot of fun to see.
Yeah. It's always fun to see. However, even if he chooses to run metronome most of the time, he'll still have access to a metric crap ton of moves with Mew on his side.
Yeah, and the stats are definitely not bad either.
Yeah, base 100 down the road doesn't really fail you when you have so much moves.
What are your thoughts on this Mew going second overall, Armando?
I mean, considering it's like the epitome of a metronome Pokemon, it can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. Uh, with metronome specifically, you can just run any set you like, any move that you could even consider of coming out. It makes sense for it to be his first pick for his little metronome theme team he's got going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, even if he decides to go metronome, he has options to make this still like a viable enough team to run in draft. So, I mean, Mew for his team in particular makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Mew also has access to 3 out of 4 major hazards in the game, being Stealth Rock, Toxic Spike, and Spike.
Oh
However,
yeah.
I don't know if Levin will fully utilize those as
Yeah.
he's doing a metronome focused mindset, but they're still there and people should still look out for them.
And who knows? There's always a chance of a cheeky transform.
Yeah. There's also a possibility of a Demon Mew, which is a set utilizing Calm Mind or cut this out. It doesn't have cosmic power anymore. Cut this out.
Is that just a Gen 9 thing or?
Yeah. What I was gonna say, it uses cosmic power, body press, sword power, and recover. It doesn't even have recover. Okay. Disregard everything that I just said.
Wait, does it not get recovered this game?
No. Recover isn't a TM, so I guess not.
Well, yeah, that probably makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that was our interesting second overall pick for one of the most interesting teams given the metronome focus. But moving on here to our next team, the Skeletor Superstars. Another of the newcomers to the Hofstra Esports Draft League this season, coached by Skeletino, and they're drafting the Gen 9 pseudo-legendary Terror, the Dragon Ghost type Dragapult, third overall. What I felt was a very strong pick, and what I was honestly expecting to go number 1 overall. What are your guys' thoughts on this powerful pick?
Dragapult is a fast attacker that can work both physically and specially, which is really good in draft when speed matters a lot.
Yeah, I drafted Dragapult in doubles for a very specific reason. This thing can do it all. Like I said, it can run special attack sets, physical attacking sets. Like it can hit you with the Draco, you turn right back out. Like this thing's got like great pivot ability, great setup sweeper, a great late game cleanup. It's just so good offensively.
Yeah. And talking about that speed stat a bit more, its base speed is only beaten out by Electrode, its Hisuian counterpart, and Regieleki, which Dragapult naturally resists all of those stab types.
And
Which is really...
Regieleki went undrafted in this draft as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, without being able to
Not being
Terra.
allowed to Terra,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see it getting drafted.
Yeah, but like this thing pretty much, except for those rare cases where the electrodes come out, this thing is basically the uncontested speed champion.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong. And I'd also like to bring attention to Dragapult's signature move, Dragon Darts. With Season 2 here being in singles now, this move is essentially 100 base power that can bypass Focus Sash.
Or Fear
Yeah.
Strats. Starly. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Not that I could hit. Oh wait, no, yeah, it's Dragon type move. Never mind.
Yeah. Dragapult, usually with a choice item, can usually do some pretty good things here. For instance, the special set with specs being Shadow Ball, Dragon Pulse, any other move that you'd really want to put on it and U-turn is usually a good set that wouldn't really fail you often. Unless your opponent is more specially oriented defense-wise, in which case you could probably go with something like Phantom Force and Dragon Claw or Dragon Darts, and then use some
Yeah.
other physical move with its surprisingly more powerful physical attack stat.
Yeah, it could really go either way, just leave you guessing what set it is, and could even be a mixed attacker too. I mean, just in a vacuum, in my opinion, I feel that Dragapult is the number one best Pokemon in this draft in a vacuum.
Yeah, Dragapult
It's
is just
a home run pick for
fourth
third
tier.
overall.
Yeah,
Yeah, but here with fourth pick with Daniel's own The Judgment Days with Meowscarada.
Yeah,
yeah.
18 pointer, Gen 9 grass type starter, grass and dark type, off the board. So Daniel, since you were the one who made this pick, tell us a little bit about your thought process here and why you thought Meowscarada was the way you wanted to start your team off.
Meowscarada got a really good new toy in this DLC, that being Triple Axle. With a combination of Protean and Choice Band, that thing can run over so many uh, threats that with hitting 3 times and increasing power and Protean stat. With not only that, it also has access to knockoff, has access to Flower Trick, its signature move, which always crits and never misses.
Shades of Urshifu there?
Yeah, and even then, it with Protean, it could have an always changing type, and I've even seen it run special sets in draft before. For instance, with Leaf Storm and Aura
It's
Sphere,
yeah, Horror Sphere, Dark
Dark
Pulse.
Pulse. This can be really good. Thanks to throw someone off if they're not expecting it. And of course, and another good thing about Meowscarada, it also sets Toxic Spikes. So, for instance, you have Sash.
I did not realize it got that. Wow.
Yeah, you have Sash. It can put down Toxic Spikes, then hit you with like some Overgrow Flower Trick. Like that can do some real damage.
Yeah, this thing's a powerhouse for sure. What are your thoughts on this, Armando?
Yeah, I mean, as a person who drafted a Protean Mon themselves, like it just it's so
It's
easy to
even in your
work
team
into it.
name.
Yeah, it's so easy to work into your team. Like you said, it can run like Overgrow, Focus Sash, do some insane damage. Always gets a guaranteed crit if it wants to. Can set up spikes. I mean, Dark type stab is just always good to have. Psychic type immunity. It just does insane amounts of damage. And triple axle, like it does a lot. Oh, it also gets spikes too. Like
Yeah, it also has access to the very powerful move Trick, especially with its blistering fast 123 base speed.
Yeah, you could definitely just like force an unwanted choice onto your opponent without them being able to really do much about it,
Yeah.
or you get caught
which
into the
is
Mike
always a
Jewel
funny
gambit,
play.
where you trick a choice item to a choice item.
Memories.
Another good thing about Meowscarada, which I don't think I'll be using on my team, it also has access to Trick Room.
And it does, yes. Which
Trick Room can enable
always nice to have that as a mode.
Yeah, Trick Room can enable many different modes on your team and shut down teams with largely faster Pokemon. It
Hmm.
can be a really interesting surprise pick if your opponent doesn't expect it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Trick Room is much more prevalent in doubles than it is here in singles, but that's not to say that it's anything to sleep on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter if it's singles or doubles, speed is always the main difference. And when you only have one Pokemon on the field, it could be the only difference that matters.
Yeah.
For sure. And speaking of Pokemon that can make all the difference, let's look at our fifth pick of the draft, picked by by Kora Sensei, coach of the Indiana Infernapes. He took his team's mascot, Infernape, in the first round, 15-pointer. What do you guys think about this interesting pick?
I mean, we have another starter again that just
Yeah,
outputs lots of damage. Is not that insanely
typical
fast,
Gen
but
4 starter.
yeah,
It's a solid mixed attacker as well, having the same base attack and
Yeah,
special attack stats, and
yeah.
and
People
a
often
speed
forget about
over
just
base
how
100
good.
as well.
Yeah, people often forget just how good Infernape can work as a special attacker as well as physical, which I think could
Yeah.
definitely catch you off guard if in the right situation for that.
Infernape also has the ability Iron Fist, enabling its punching moves such as Drain Punch, Fire Punch, the priority Mach Punch, and even Thunder Punch's coverage to just do more damage than it usually would.
yeah. It looks like it gets rocks as well. You know, it gets some interesting support moves. Slack off. I mean, it'd be interesting to run a healing set on Infernape, but
It even
it could
gets
be
both
done.
bulk up. It even
Ma-
gets both bulk up and calm mind, enabling it to sweep if you get too much of those off. It
Yep.
also has knockoff, gunk shot, grass knot, a lot of crazy coverage here.
Yeah. Again, also just further showing how versatile it is. Options both physical and special, and even stuff like roar even
Yeah.
could be very interesting. It's saying Infernape is a 15-pointer. It's a very valuable one here. Fifth overall is definitely higher than I was expecting to see it, but it's a good cornerstone to build around.
Yeah.
And Infernape's definitely the type of hero you want as your mascot, manning your team, leading your team into battle, bringing up the morales of your companion Claude Sires and your buddy Dawn fans.
Oh, for sure. But we'll get into the rest of the teams later. But, and now, looking at another veteran team from season 1 of the Hofstra Esports Draft League, we have Marcus's rose-tinted lenses and our third starter in a row that went in the first round, Puquavel going 6th overall, the 16-point water-type starter from Gen 9.
Yeah. Fable's pretty good. With the combination of Moxie and Aquastep, that thing can get real bad real fast.
Yeah, this thing just it can go from 0 to 100. I mean, uh, max each turn it can get +1 speed, +1 attack if it picks up a KO. It has a high crit
It
rate and Aqua Cutter.
also has access to substitute and bulk up, enabling it to kind of set up quickly and then just sweep, as
Yeah,
well as also having valuable hazard removal with rapid spin.
yeah, definitely. And I know Quaquavel's not a nice type, but bear with me here for this metaphor. If there's any Pokemon that is the representation of a snowball, it's this Pokemon right here. Just once it gets going, it just keeps going and gets so hard to stop.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, even if you wanted to stop, it can pivot right out, keep the momentum going. Got U-turn, flip turn,
Flip turn, yeah.
a roost. Like,
I didn't realize it also got this, but it also got triple axle in the
oh,
newest
Oh
DLC
wow.
update.
oh my
That
goodness.
could prove a real threat.
Yeah, that's just devastating. I
That
think this is definitely one of the most slept on Pokemon in this format.
Yeah. It also Quaquavel also gets valuable recovery tools as well at the roost, which allows it to
Yeah,
just kind of get a free turn, recover back, especially if it's hiding behind a substitute of multiple bulk ups.
yeah, and getting Roost without even being a flying type is pretty rare too.
Yeah.
And now that brings us over to Armando's team, the Phoenix Proteans, in his first round pick, which is actually a pretty interesting moment in this draft, given that he and I actually had a trade worked out. So this is technically what I selected 14th overall for him in exchange for his 7th overall pick, but Armando's first rounder at the end of the day is a 14-point grass starter from the Galar region, Rillaboom.
and that is our fourth starter in a row here,
Yeah,
technically.
a very
Yeah.
interesting turn of events.
Yeah, Rillaboom is just one. It's bulky. It gets grassy surge. Always sets up reliable recovery for its team. Can pivot out very well with U-turn. Uh, it's pretty well with like assault vest sets, choice band. Uh, its grassy surge also helps some of other teammates, specifically ones with unburden. If you want to run some seeds shenanigans. So I just felt like it was a good overall first pick. I didn't really have like too much priority for some of the other top picks. Your Latioses and your Greninjas. So I just figured I'd go with something that can help the rest of my draft and also be good on its own.
Yeah, and no matter the format, Rillaboom is just such a good Pokemon. I mean, you could even argue it's more legendary than its Grassy Surge counterpart Tapu Bulu is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Base 125 attack. With Grassy Surge, it also gets access to a strong priority option in Grassy Glide, adds sustained healing for your team with that, and it's just it gets really good support, such as like Fake Out and Knockoff. It's just such a strong Pokemon that's solid no matter what format you're using it in.
Yeah. Yeah, Rillaboom is just like a really strong Pokemon with also just so much support in its team where it can
Yeah.
help with grassy terrain, just providing that extra heal that a Pokemon could use to just live one extra turn and get that kill. That's much needed here.
Yeah, right now that grassy terrain use isn't really filled by much of anything else at all. I mean, like maybe an Arbolivo with Seed Sower, but if you want grassy terrain, you're looking at Rillaboom.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. And now looking at the temporarily named Team Jamez, coached by none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself. He has a very, very strong first rounder, one of our very few 19 pointers, second one that goes in this draft. It's the Paradox Pokemon Iron Valiant.
Yeah, Valiant is a huge threat in draft. It has so many moves, can run physical, special, and mix sets, and even some cheese sets if you want to as well.
Yeah. Hypnosis?
Yeah, Hypnosis, Fast Destiny Bond can be funny.
Yeah.
It just has so many moves that sometimes that in draft your opponent just might not know what to prep for.
Even something they're like I just saw there, Quick Guard even. Comes to mind as just one of those like big surprise things. Come out of nowhere. It has good coverage. I mean, look, you see Poison Jab, Liquidation, Leaf Blade.
Yeah. It even has some priority of its own with Vacuum Wave, which is special stab.
Yeah. What do you think about this Valiant pick, Armando?
Yeah. As a doubles player, I'm not really used to Iron Valiant being that good,
Yeah.
but I mean, it makes sense, right? Because Iron Valiant, especially as a draft mon, you just have so many options to choose from, so many things that can cover uh, different types of Pokemon that you're dealing with. I mean, 116 speed is nothing to like scoff at. It can run attack and special. It's got moves for every single occasion it could wish for. Sweeping sets, bulky sets. Uh, like Daniel mentioned, some cheese sets. A little hypnosis, a little reflect here and there. Want to get mischievous.
Yeah.
But Iron Valiant it can and will be ready for any situation you throw it in, any team you throw it on.
Yeah, honestly, I was frankly shocked that this was even available for JMaz all the way down at pick number 8. As I said earlier, on our draft board, this is one of 4 Pokemon worth the highest value, 19 points, and the second one to go in this draft. I'll be honest, Daniel, I was expecting this to be your first round pick when it came to be your
To
turn.
be real, I was contemplating it. I was contemplating it kind of hard. But in the end, I
Yeah.
went with Masquerada.
Yeah, and can't argue with that pick either.
And up next, we also have a top pick. uh,
Well, absolutely. Coached by the one and only Michael Jewell, we have the most beloved team from our season 1, the Long Island Gastrodons, who was another team that took their mascot round 1 with the 9-point Terra Captain eligible Gastrodon going in the first round.
I mean, Gastrodon is not half bad, especially in singles. I mean, it's only weak to grass types, Maybe not so much for a first pick, but still on its own, Gastrodon capable of
Yeah,
like lasting a long time.
in
Yeah,
the draft, which is a lower tier Terra draft, keep in mind that as a Pokemon that is 9 points and below, Gastrodon is eligible to be one of the Terra captains, which Jules is, as we see, it's running Terra, Water, Ground, and Dark.
yeah. Gastrodon is a pretty good Pokemon defensively. It
Yeah, I
can
mean,
it
only
can
weak
be a
to Grass
great
type natively.
yeah, it can be a great switch in against water moves with its ability Storm Drain, allowing it to get a free special attack boost, and taking no damage whatsoever, and then retaliating back with powerful moves like Surf, Earth Power, and even some coverage like Sludge Bomb, Weather Ball, Ice Beam, and like Ancient Power. It can do a, it can do a lot of things. Be defensive, recover up, boosted armor, boost its defense. It can just do so much.
Oh, for sure. And also, I'd like to bring our attention back a moment to that ability you mentioned of its Storm Drain. As you said, excellent switch into to water type moves for the reason you said, and just the presence of Gastrodon being on the team can make a player so much more hesitant to even use their strong water type moves, knowing that it could be switched in at any moment. Like you don't even have to actively use it to get value out of that, which is just one of the things that's so cool about this Pokemon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in singles, getting a free switch in is so valuable. Especially with a Pokemon like Gastrodon, which can also just stay on the field forever. I mean, it gets Pain Split, Recover, Curse, Yawn. Like this thing's staying, and there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe cry about it, throw a couple seeds its way, but it'll probably be fine.
Yeah, Gastron's certainly not a traditional first round pick you'd expect to see here, but don't sleep on it. This thing is legitimately good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And speaking of unconventional first round picks, we have a newcomer team to the draft, Persona Furret, coached by Swamp Boss, and they also decided to go for their mascot first overall, with the 2 point Furret being a Terra captain, boasting normal stellar, and dark Terra types.
Okay, hear me
Turret
out.
is
Tidy up.
interesting. Yeah. Honestly, Tidy Up is like one of the only things saving this Pokemon from being a one pointer.
Okay,
Tidy
okay,
Up,
but like 90 speed though, 90 speed.
And it is a Terra captain.
it is a Terra Captain. But
Yeah.
yeah, Tidy Up as a move, previously thought to be exclusive to only Maushold, but now learned by a few other normal type Pokemon. Um,
Yeah.
it's basically Dragon Dance, but it also clears substitutes and hazards.
Yeah, it is a legitimately very good move, and honestly, when the first pick happened, I didn't even realize that Furret actually got Tidy Up.
Yeah, I only knew because of YouTube reviews that, gonna be honest. But yeah, Furret doesn't have a bad physical move pool with things like Body Slam, uh, a few of the elemental punches for coverage, Seed Bomb, Play Rough, Knock Off,
And you know,
Trailblaze, and Headbutt U-Turn.
Last Resort could be very funny too.
Last Resort could be very funny, provided it's in the right scenario.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, to
They also
me,
have Brick Break as well.
it feels like Fur is really going to shine as a very niche sweeper or an information Pokemon because Frisk could have some honestly some use kind of obviously for the most part you're gonna know what a Pokemon's running, your typical leftovers, your choice items, but every once in a while that Frisk could be the difference between getting cheesed and surviving because
Yep.
it can reveal like a berry, uh, I don't know, like a weather rock. And
Or even
information is
something more
everything.
dangerous like a weakness policy.
Hmm.
Yeah, in draft, it's very much possible for your opponent to cook up some very cheesy strategies that require some very interesting setups.
For sure. And
So
now,
knowing that held item could be a big indicator as to what moves that your opponent could be running.
definitely. And do you guys have any thoughts on the three Terra types that Swamp Boss picked for his Furret here?
Normal is required due to the
Yes.
rules. Stellar is interesting, for it does have a lot of coverage with its physical move pool. So I could see that one-time Stellar boost getting used.
Yeah.
However, Stellar doesn't really add much to for it defensively.
I guess Dark Terror could like work to like block Prankster, I guess.
I mean, also you
Yeah,
get
but
some
I don't
stab
really see
sucker punches.
Prankster really doing much on this.
Yeah.
I feel like there could have been a better third Terra type for it to use, as Dark still retains normal fighting type weakness and more.
Hmm.
I mean, Dark Terror type gives you stab, knockoff, stab, sucker punch. I mean, this can be like a pretty interesting like cleanup mon. You know, like your opponent's set up, they're starting to get a little scary, but they're weak to dark. You bring in the man himself, Furret, and he comes and he tidies up the trash, you know, as it were.
Yeah. Well, anyway, regardless of our thoughts on Furret as a Pokemon, can we all agree that Swamp Boss is an absolute king for picking this in the first round?
No, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah. And speaking of notable first round Pokemon, the Baneful Bayonets, coached by M, this was one of our most successful teams in Season 1, and M has taken Gliscor, the 16-point terror from Gen 4, first overall.
Gliscor is something else in singles.
Yes,
With
this thing was
Toxic
even
Orb,
danced to Ubers for a bit.
yeah, with Toxic Orb plus Poison Heal, this guy can be annoying to fight with, especially if you let that Toxic Orb activate Poison and you let it sit there. If you let it sit there, it will whittle you down and use everything in its power to diminish your power points and make sure you struggle.
Yeah, I could definitely say I am not looking forward to fighting against this thing. That's for sure.
Yeah, Gliscor is one of those mons where you look at it on a team sheet and you're like, what is the niche counterplay I bring so I don't just lose to Gliscor? Because if you aren't prepared for Gliscor whatsoever, you're just not going to win. Because Gliscor is just going to stay on the field. It's going to sit there. You're like, oh, it's poison. I can't put it to sleep. I can't burn it. It's just going to sit there, heal up, and laugh in your face because you can't touch this thing. You know, you're going to have to trick a Lumberry onto it or something. You're going to bring some niche strategy to deal with Gliscor.
Yeah. Gliscor also has some utility as well, with it learning both spikes and stealth rocks. And with this guy being on the field for a while, even if someone removes those hazards, Gliscor can still probably come back and bring them right back up.
Yeah, this thing is just consistently going to be such pain to deal with. It'll stay around forever. It'll just get a lot of annoying stuff off and just be pretty much a near constant presence that you just always have to keep in mind. And also furthering its longevity. It's one of those Pokemon that actually is likely to get use out of the move Protect in singles.
Yeah, especially on that first turn when it's out, getting getting that Toxic Orb to give you poison is
Oh
key to
yeah,
Gliscor's game plan.
absolutely.
Because if that Gliscor doesn't have poison on it, it's effectively a nothing mon.
Yeah, this thing like has to play in a specific way, but that way is just so effective that it could just be overbearing to deal with. And speaking of very effective and considered annoying Pokemon, another newcomer team, Taboo's Agents of Shieldon, love that team name by the way, takes Golden Go with his first round pick. 16 point 16-point Steel Ghost type from Gen 9, that is Pokemon number 1000.
The
Golden
naughty, naughty
Go,
cheese, man.
yeah. Golden Go is once again another one of those Pokemon that is like a OU staple. Ever since this guy
Yeah.
came in to Gen 9, he's come in acting like he runs the place. With its signature ability, Good as Gold, and its Steel Ghost typing, this makes it immune to literally every form of hazard removal in the
Yeah.
game. With its
Yep.
Steel type making it immune to Glamora's Immortal Spin, with Its good as gold ability making it immune to defog, and its ghost typing making it immune to rapid spin. It is a perfect storm for teams that just want to stack on those hazards.
I guess the one thing it can't really stop is stopping a grounded poison type from getting rid of toxic spikes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Another thing
Golden
about
Go
Golden Go
is
is
really
that,
good.
yeah, its special attack, as well as its signature move, Make It Rain, can pack a punch, especially if you're using either a choice set or sometimes even a nasty plot set with Air Balloon is another common OU set.
Yes, absolutely. And Make It Rain. For moves with the power that this does at 120, you usually have some sort of drawback. But nope, this move does not have that. It is just really good and really strong. And
Now, you are forgetting that Make It Rain does lower Golden Go's special attack by 1. However, usually Golden Go doesn't like
right,
to stick
true. Yeah,
around
my
for that
bad.
long. Golden
My
Go
bad,
doesn't
yeah.
really like to stick around for that long for that special attack drop to really matter all that much.
Yeah.
Usually
Uh,
he kind of switches in on your hazard removal, kills it, and then doesn't have to deal with stopping hazard removal ever again. Then it just kind of remains as like a cleanup sweeper toward the end game.
Yeah, our main saving grace with this in the draft league is that this thing is not eligible to terrestrialize at least.
Yeah. Another thing
Thankfully.
about Golden Go is that it has a surprising amount of special coverage. It has Dazzling Gleam. It has Power Gem. It has Psychic and Spy Shock. And it also has Thunderbolt. Even Electro Ball, however, Golden Go isn't really that fast with base 84 speed.
Yeah.
It can still pack a pretty powerful punch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And speaking of packing a punch, that's what you're going to be feeling when dealing with the drunken Dracovic. Coached by Joe, this is pretty much our reigning champions from season one, the team that went undefeated, and with this new iteration, Joe's first round pick is one of the brand new Paradox Pokemon introduced in the Indigo Disc DLC, the 18-point Gouging Fire.
Gouging Fire
And
is
man, is this thing
just,
powerful.
it is an absolute beast. I mean, this thing, if you're going to be hitting physical moves, you're going to be risking a burn every turn. It runs Dragon Dance. If it gets the sun up and starts Morning Sun in front of your face, you're not going to be able to get rid of it. It can just sweep through your team. Fire Dragon is such a good defensive typing. It's so hard to remove. Uh, it'll probably pick up KO every week. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. This
Yeah,
champion is
Also
just a
probably at
drops
least
monster.
one.
once every game.
Yeah. There's no
Yeah, I
reason not
mean,
to bring this thing.
It's
yeah,
also
I
pretty
can
bulky
definitely see
too.
this thing leading the MVP race.
Hmm.
Yeah. Gouging Fire is also pretty bulky as well. With base 105 HP, 121 defense, and 93 special defense, I could see it living quite a few hits, especially with its signature move Burning Bulwark,
Oh,
as well as the Morning Sun.
yeah, Burning Bulwark, honestly, is just one of the most ridiculous moves ever introduced into Pokemon. Just a protect that's similar to Spiky Shield in that it deals a drawback back to enemies who use contact moves on it. But like Spiky Shield, which does a bit of damage, this inflicts burn, which is just massive. It just absolutely cripples any physical attackers this thing goes against.
Yeah, Burn is just a horrible status effect to be conflicted with if you're using physical moves, as it just negates any possible leftovers or healing from any other sources, as well as having your physical moves power to just so it just absolutely just gut punches any physical opponent that just gets burnt from Burning Bulwark.
Unless you're running guts.
True.
Then maybe
Are
you
you
do
looking
want to
at your?
smack Gouging Fire.
Are you side eyeing your string there, Armando?
Oh yeah, he knows what's up. We're gonna punch this thing, and we're gonna like it. Anyways, but yeah, Gouging Fire is just defensive beast, a great setup sweeper. Will always last a long time in the field. Morning Sun. Overall, fantastic first pick, especially for the defensive core that looks like Joe is trying to build.
Yep. And last but not least, you have me, myself, and I, the Magikarp Mayhem, and thanks to the aforementioned deal I made with Armando, I was able to get one of my personal favorite Pokemon of all time, Darkrai, and Dark. In this Pokemon, I am so glad to have on my team. And I know most people look at this thing and they immediately think of Sleep Cheese, and that's definitely a very prominent option for it. Though with Hypnosis, not a to remove Dark Void, I'm still crying about that nerf sending it down to 50% accuracy. But also, this thing is just this thing is a sweeper. It's very fast, has great special attack, and it gets a lot of coverage, and just those stab dark pulses boosted by Nasty Plot will just wreck through so many things. Just if you could provide Darkrai with entry hazard support and good pivots, Darkrai could just be the centerpiece of an absolute menace, and is another thing I could see being in an MVP conversation.
Yeah. Provided the sleep gets off, Darkrai can do so much. It
Oh
can
yeah,
set up, it can just attack and attack. It could switch in, let an opponent, or let another Pokemon set up. Sleep is just such a powerful status effect. And provided both you and your opponent stay in, its ability Bad Dreams will just whittle at your opponent's health so much, losing 1/8 of their max HP at the end of each turn.
yeah, it's really like pretty much just like putting them to sleep while also basically having them poisoned at the same time, which is just so powerful. And Darkrai is also very fast with base 125 speed, and it could even run some new sets like Toy Scar Foul Play or Hex combined with Sleep or things like Toxic Spikes. Like Darkrai is just such a powerful Urful sleeper. Has a bit of cheese. Is just all around a fantastic Pokemon that you could see why it's been in Ubers in all previous generations it's been in.
Yeah, this thing is just like the ultimate revenge killer. It just comes in. It's probably gonna finish the job. You know, if it puts a Pokemon to sleep, it's gonna get a free setup, and then the rest of your team is in real jeopardy because with the 135 special attack. Yeah, nothing wants to switch into that. Uh, get some like niche stuff.
Yeah.
You disable some hazes if you want to stop a counter sweep. Uh, it's just overall really good mon.
Yeah, that is out.
Yeah, and that finishes what was a very interesting round one of this draft. Some absolutely stacked choices, some more unconventional ones that could work out really well, and the king move that is for it.
The absolute baller himself. Still walking up an escalator because the Gen 4 remix came, but they weren't good, so he's still waiting.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
now that we're done looking at round one, now we're going to take a look more at these teams as a whole and look at how these teams synergize together, look at like what some strengths and weaknesses are, and just how the whole picture fits together for the field heading into the season. Starting with looking at the Wayward Weaviles, here we see the team that started with Great Tusk took their mascot Weavile, mascot Weavile in round two. I see couple of new paradoxes, Iron Crown and Raging Bolt, and three lower point Terra captains in Lycanroc, Midday, Gligar, and Strudel. What are your guys' thoughts on this team?
I think this team is very interesting. Weavile is just such a fast threat with the access to both triple axle and knockoff, which it lost in Gen 8 and then slowly gained back in Gen 9. Weavile just got all of its strength back and is just returned to just being a massive threat with its speed tier.
Yeah, Weavile was gone for a while with the advent of Chen Pao, but it's definitely back in full force now. It is very strong Pokemon, worthy of its 17-point status.
Yeah, some other notable Pokemon here are Iron Crown, which has its very interesting new move, Tachyon card, allowing it to hit twice for 50 base power and never missing. Ogerpon, with its powerful Ivy Cudgel, Horn Leech, Stomping Tantrum, I think it gets. Just a lot of powerful moves for it to
Yeah,
have.
in which stat does this one get boosted by? Oh, well, right, embody aspect doesn't really
Yeah,
matter here because it can't Terra.
yeah. It can't Terra in this draft league, unfortunately. Yeah, Ogerpon, this form of Ogerpon does get freedom of choice with its item, as the other forms of Ogerpon are locked behind their respective mask held items.
Yes.
Raging Bolt is also just a very bulky Pokemon with powerful electric and dragon moves and some other coverage options as well. Not
Yeah,
to
both
mention,
definitely went a lot later than I was expecting. I thought this thing
yeah,
was going like around 2 or 3.
yeah. Not to mention though, its signature move Thunderclap, which is pretty much special electric sucker punch, which can have quite a punch, especially
No pun
if
intended.
yeah, especially if this Pokemon is under Sun, which Great Tusk also benefits from.
Yeah, photosynthesis is a terrifying ability.
Oh my
What do you
god.
think are some other key points on this team, Armando?
It just occurred to me why he might have drafted Shootle. I think this thing gets Sunny Day.
It does.
Oh my
It
god.
It
does.
does indeed.
That's, yeah.
Prankster Sunny Day.
Yeah, I see the vision now. Great Tuskness, the Raging Bolt under the sun with Prankster Shootle. I mean,
Yep.
this team is already like really good defensively. I mean, Tentacruel. No, some people really look at Tentacruel and be like, "That's greatness," but like, Water Poison. I mean, sets up Toxic Spikes. Gets, I believe, decent recovery. Sylveon can kind of just come in, get a Throat Spray off, and start killing things left and right. Ogre Pontiel, like I said before, it doesn't need the mask, so it can just run any item it desires. Gligar is your budget Gliscor. Lycanroc is just a great revenge killer with Excel Rock. Set up Swords Dance, check the punch. Also one of its Terra Captains. Uh, Weavile also kind of just comes in, takes a free kill. Not much that you can really... Not much that wants to tank a Weavile, either of its stabs. And then Farigiraf's the only one that I'm a little concerned, because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Farigiraf's definitely
obviously,
good, but I don't know.
I mean, in doubles, Farigiraf is currently an absolute mainstay. I'm not
Yeah,
as sure of how it's been used in singles. I'm seeing it is a 5 potential better Pokemon, but I still think this thing has a lot of utility. It could enable a possible trick room mode. It blocks priority. It could just provide some solid support and just be a nuisance, I guess.
Gligar, another Pokemon drafted by Hunter, isn't something to scoff at either. With it
Oh,
being
I love
the
that pick.
pre-evolution, with it being the pre-evolution to Gliscor, it gets a lot of things that Gliscor has. The one thing I'd say it has, uh, it has less of compared to Gliscor is longevity. However, I'd say that's still okay due to the fact it has access to Eviolite. I'm still having pretty good base stats due to being a fully evolved Pokemon for 2 gens.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about a lot of the strengths here of the Wayward Weavile's team. I mean, led by two first picks such as Great Tusky and Weavile, it's hard not to have strong strengths. But what do you guys think are some of the weaknesses of this team that Hunter should look out for?
I will say this team is missing a fire type, uh,
Yeah.
which I don't know how big of a problem that'll be, but I can definitely see it coming up. But let's see. I mean, his speed is overall pretty good. Weavile, your Lycanroc, speed's not going to be that much of an issue. I can see maybe some issue taking down some of the tankier mons. Obviously, Great Tusk won't struggle too much with that, but some of these other Pokemon might struggle taking down, your Gliscors, you know, uh, your Iron Hands. Yeah, struggling a little bit with
Yeah,
those really bulky mons.
yeah, and I also see kind of a decent amount of a decent amount of other than Weavile of struggling against grass types. Definitely see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Great Tusk is one that notably kind of loses to that.
I mean, Ferrograph does get what, Cut You, which makes it immune to grass type moves. So that could be,
Kachu doesn't do that.
or not Cut You.
Snap
Is it
Stab
Sap
Sipper.
Sipper?
I'm dumb.
Yeah, it does.
That's what I was thinking of.
That is a good point.
Not Cut You.
Ogerpon also isn't a half bad switch in on grass moves, as well as Raging Bull.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, they're good switch-ins into them, but like, I feel that they don't really do that much to opposing strong grass types either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
Ferrograph also does get Sunny Day. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is definitely another sun option if he doesn't want to use a team slot on Strudel.
Hmm.
Yeah, and what do you guys think about Hunter's Terra captains and their chosen Terra types?
I think all of them are pretty well suited for their Pokemon. One thing I'm a little confused at is Terra Bug Glagar,
Yeah,
but
that
I'm
I
not
agree
sure
with.
Hunter is cooking something there that I just don't see yet.
I mean, does Gligar get X-Scissor? It does, right?
Yeah.
I think it does, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think from a resistance standpoint, what does Bug type do? I mean, no, I guess Water does that too. It removes an ice weakness, but Bug doesn't resist ice, so I don't know. I know Hunter's cooking up something. We just don't see it yet. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think the Wayward Weaviles is one of the most threatening teams in this season in this season too.
Hmm. I don't know. Maybe stab, lunge, U-turn. Oh, stab, U-turn actually could be something.
Yeah, U-turn, X-Scissor.
And some Skater Smacks. I mean, it gets good bug moves, so that could also just be the reason. But
Yeah. It makes sense.
also, it could just be that Hunter doesn't have a bug type, so he just wanted to cover that offensively. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all in all, I see this team as being mostly well-rounded and just excelling in the sun with that photosynthesis on Great Tusk and Raging Bolt. Though it is interesting having a sun-based team without any fire types.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Paradox Mons does for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, we have the Metronome Mania City here.
Yep, the ludicrous Lugias. Look at this team. We have our first red pick of Mew. Interestingly, some possible Trick Room abusers in the form of Ursaluna and Iron Hands, especially the always versatile Sableye, aka Jeffrey, and some these picks like Lucario, Monkey Dory, Magmortar, Gardevoir, and Tornadus Therian.
Snorlax is also a pretty viable Trick Room
Yeah.
user as well.
Yeah, Snorlax definitely. Yeah, just didn't
user, yeah.
Yeah, just didn't remember. I was pretty sure I just didn't remember its speed off the top of my head there.
Yeah, it's base 30.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, definitely another Trick Room user.
Yeah. Provided that Levin does not just click metronome every turn.
Which is probably the likely outcome.
Probably the liking outcome, but provided he doesn't do that, the team could honestly prove an issue.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, Tornadus Therian is a really good pivot, especially with things like knockoff, or I don't think it has knockoff anymore. Let me make sure. Oh, it does have knockoff. Knockoff, U-turn,
Regenerator.
regen.
Yeah. Generator is a
Blink
fantastic
Storm.
ability.
Yeah, Bleak Wind Storm.
Yeah.
It doesn't have access to defog in this generation. However, it still has access to weather if it wanted to set that up.
It's all 4 types of weather.
Yeah. Um, it has some interesting special coverage as well.
Yeah, and of course, like tailwind and taunt support.
Yeah. However, I wouldn't be surprised that since this is Levin's team, it just clicked metronome every turn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably a little.
I believe Levin can pilot this team to not just metronome, but most of the time it is
Yeah.
just going to click metronome. But I mean,
Honestly, look at this team in a vacuum with like Mew, Snorlax, or Saloon, and Iron Hands. I think that's a very interesting Trick Room core.
hmm
Yeah.
Plus, adding Prankster Sableye into the mix there too.
Yeah. Sableye is 4 points for a reason, as its attacking stats are kind of paltry.
Although,
But
hey, it's a metronome that'll always get to go first.
yeah, Prankster support options are still really good.
Yeah.
With Prankster Encore, Disable, just so many options here. To list some more.
Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah, Pain Split, Thunder Wave, Taunt, Brick. There can be a lot of interesting options here.
yeah, like even without mentioning metronome, you can kind of just set up for this team. You know, set up some hazard, your spikes, your stealth rocks, trick room, and then pivot out with U-turn or whatever it would like into your Saluna, Iron Hands, Snorlax, and kind of just pick up a few kills there.
Yeah, and Levin also has 2 interesting Terra Captains, with the aforementioned Sableye having running Ghost, Steel, and Water Terra, and then the Magmortar with Fire, Stellar, and Grass.
Yeah, Stellar is really interesting for Magmortar, as due to Metronome happening, it gets
Oh yeah,
boost. It gets that Stellar Terra boost at 1.2 times boost, I think. On
I think that's right.
every move, it rolls to Metronome. So if it rolls a Dragon move 1 turn, it gets the boost. If it rolls a Fairy move 1 turn, it gets the boost. That can prove like a big threat there.
Yes, Stellar Terra plus Metronome is just such an interesting combination, and honestly, I love how there are such a good amount of Stellar Terra users in this draft.
Yeah, admittedly, I expected Stellar Terra to only go on like 1 or 2 Pokemon,
Yeah,
but
same here.
you have, I think, like a solid 4 or 5 Pokemon using it.
Yeah, I believe 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, but even like without metronome, I mean, Magmortar gets some really good coverage. Obviously, gets his main stabs. You know, gets some focus blast. It gets hyper voice if it wants to do some like throat spray shenanigans. Scorching sands, thunderbolt. Like even without metronome, it can still make use of the stellar terror type. I mean, fire is still a
Yeah,
good defensive type overall.
and even something like Burning Jealousy could be interesting.
hmm
Mm.
I've always found it to be like a very underrated move that I think has a lot of potential against setup.
Yeah, the one thing is Magmortar might be a little too fast to
Yeah.
utilize it with that base 83 speed. But,
It-
however,
I mean,
some
there's a
fast
lot that's still faster than
attackers,
it.
yeah, definitely some fast attackers can still be hindered by that.
But yeah, either way,
Yeah.
I still look forward to the shenanigans that this metronome
Oh
team
yeah.
could bring.
This team's
Yeah,
gonna be
of
so
course.
much fun. But like in general, this how well this team does just lives and dies at the mercy of RNG.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel it's hard to say much else about it.
Yeah. Metronome is, by all extents and purposes, a wild card.
And I absolutely love that about it.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to the Skeletor Superstars, who started their draft with a couple of Dragon-type pseudo-legendaries in Dragapult and Garchomp, added Fairy and Steel all in one Pokemon with Tinkaton, got the live Bochen reaction, drafted its mascot. Scott added just a good amount of type coverage all around, finalizing in the 1-point Vigoroth, which was also the very final pick of this draft.
Yeah. This
How are we
team,
feeling about this
honestly,
team?
looking at it again now, could be surprisingly threatening.
Yeah, I just
It
feel
has a
there's like so many different types.
Yeah, it has a pretty good defensive core with Dirge, Wo-Chien, Appleton, and Dondozo, and it has offensive threats like Dragapult, Garchomp, the Titan, Thunderous Therian. It has a good mix of both worlds here, and I could see this team going far.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Also, as you said, there's that strong fire, water, grass defensive core, along with kind of a modified version of a Dragon Fairy Steel, given that Tinkaton is a fairy and the fairy and a steel type rolled into one, and is also one of the Skeletor Superstars Terra Captains. But also, I'd really like to draw attention to Galarian Slowbro there, the 10-pointer. I think that's a very interesting and underrated Pokemon that Scalchino's added to this team.
Yeah, quick, quick claw, quick draw is always a very funny set if it works. Uh,
Yeah.
Shell side arm is the really fun move as it hits either the physical or special. Either it hits physically or specially, depending on what would be stronger. And then it also has like Calm Mind, Expanding Force. Surprisingly, some things like Earthquake, Drain Punch. It can pack just it can pack a surprising punch with its move pool here. It even has access to Light Screen, not Reflect, but
Yeah.
still a pretty good thing to have there. It has Nasty Plot, Substitute, Toxic, which not every Pokemon gets anymore, Thunder Wave, even Trick Room.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also, I feel this Pokemon is just one of the most important members of this team, also because of how it's built around those two super powerful dragon types in Dragapult and Garchomp, which have an obvious fairy weakness, and this is definitely a solid fairy counter.
Yeah. And even if you decide not to go Quick Draw, Quick Claw, you can go with a Regen Slowbro, which can arguably help even more with that defensive core, just packing more support-oriented moves.
For sure. What are your thoughts on this team, Armando?
Yeah, I feel like this team has a lot of setup sweepers. You know, you got your Garchomp, your Dragapult, your Skeledirge, Thunderous Therian, it's the Titan with Belly Drum. Got some good defensive switch-ins. You know, Dondozo with Unaware, Appleton to an extent, Wo-Chien. You know, it's Titan again. But I do feel like this team kind of has a bit of an ice weakness. I mean, Dragapult, Garchomp don't want to take an ice type. Wo-Chien definitely not. Thunderous Therian, Appleton definitely doesn't
Yeah.
want to take an ice type move.
Well, Appleton does have access to Thick Fat, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, so it is a Terra Captain with Fire and Steel Terras being there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm interested to see how Phalanx does.
Yeah. Phalanx could also be an interesting Terra Captain, provided he decides to go that route later on.
Yeah.
With no retreat, it can just kind of stay in for a little bit, Terra, and then click some buttons and probably get at least one kill.
Yeah, again, following that theme you were talking about earlier, Armando, with the setup sweepers.
Mm-hmm. It also can hit you with a good old first impression right off the bat. Good stab move. Or
I
not,
forgot
well,
to
it
even
can
get
be
stab.
stabbed with Terra.
Yeah, and I definitely like in particular, looking at Skeletino's Terra captains, I especially like the Steel Terra on Appleton just being a backup option to deal with fairies, which are otherwise very problematic for this team if you could get rid of Galarian Slowbro and Tinkaton.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think Ice and Fairy types are the main thing to watch out for here, really.
Yeah, overall good team. Definitely gonna be a lot of switch outs and switching in. But excited to see what Skeletino can do with these. A lot of good assortment of mons.
Yeah, I like just the crazy type variety he has going.
Hmm.
And now we're looking at Daniel's team, the Judgment Day, led by Miasquerada, and very good round 2 and 3 picks, I feel, in Enamorous Incarnate and Annihilate. One of the standout surprises from Season 1 of this draft league, Hisui and Quillfish, Mousehold, Klefki, and an excellent final round pick of Galarian Articuno. Daniel, why don't you take the reins here and talk about the team you put together?
Yeah. Even though not a lot of these Pokemon I was originally planning on picking up, I think I'm really happy with what I eventually came up with as a final team here. This team has so much different type variety here. It it has a lot of different viable Terra Captains that I can choose depending on my opponent. It has some good defensive Pokemon, and some good support Pokemon, with the defensive Pokemon being Pokemon like Quillfish and Crocolore, and some excellent support with Klefki, providing Prankster dual screens, as well as Masquerain setting up that all-important sticky web, as well as getting some Intimidates off.
Yep, and Quiver Dance is always terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that Crocolore pick. Did you want to talk a bit more about that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. The reason that I chose Crocolore here is in a previous draft league that I was a part of, Crocolore was chosen and it performed. With Eviolite, that thing can withstand quite a lot of hits, especially with access to recovery and slack off from the Eviolite, as well as its hidden ability unaware.
Oh yeah, Unaware is such a good ability.
Yeah, can can hit you with a flamethrower. It can hit you with a willow. Can slack off and just recover all over you. And then it can just could even like pivot. It can even force you to switch with a roar.
Yeah.
It can set up a sub. It has a lot of sleeper options that it can encore as well. It can yawn. It just has a lot of like options that I really liked having access to.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how it goes here. Armando, do you have any input to provide about the Judgment Day?
Yeah, we cannot ignore some of the very, very sleeper titans here. We got Blastoise,
Oh
which
yeah.
Shell Smash on its own is already enough to be afraid of Blastoise, but I mean it gets rapid spin, so it can take off any what's it called hazards on the field. I mean you got Masquerain with your Quiver Dances. You got Mousehold, which will just kill you if you aren't prepared for it. Uh, good old reliable Annihilate, good old Rage Fist, and then Contrary Enamorous. I mean, come on, you cannot sleep on that. That thing is gonna be doing some massive damage. Superpowers, I forget what other contrary moves it can take advantage of, but here I'm seeing.
Mainly superpower.
Mainly superpower, but
Yeah, definitely. And I know your team has a lot of Pokemon that are eligible to be Terra Captains, and you're planning on doing some switching. But right now, your Terra Captains are Hisui and Quillfish with Poison, Water, and Steel, and Galarian Articuno with Flying, Fury, and Fire. I definitely think Galarian Articuno is one of the strongest Terra Captain options in this entire draft.
Yeah, Articuno can do a lot if you let that thing stay in.
Yeah.
Especially with its signature move, Freezing Glare. It can get like a cheeky freeze off and then do so much off of that. also has the ability competitive. So if it switches in on like a parting shot or a intimidate, it just gets that plus excuse me +2 special attack and can just hit like a truck. It
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
is it's also relatively bulky with base 90 HP, 85 defense, and 100 Spadef. So
Yeah,
that could
definitely no slouch there.
yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to using this guy a lot more.
Yes. So what are we feeling this team looks like in terms of weaknesses? I mean, looking at this, I really like a lot of these lower power Pokemon. I mean, Klefki really stands out to me too as just a really good supporter. But what are some of the concerns you have heading into this season about your team?
Um, gonna be honest, I haven't really done much thought about weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I could really say is that some Pokemon that I have without Terra, they can be kind of exploited with
Mm-hmm.
some of their like weaknesses defensively.
Right.
And having to like kind of choose like I can only choose like one or two Pokemon out of my list to Terra. It's going to be a
Yeah.
bit of a balancing act to kind of pick and choose what Pokemon I Terra, and kind of knowing that my opponent will have an idea of which Pokemon I was thinking about bringing.
Yeah. Well, all I know is Terra or no Terra, that Annihilate scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah, I feel like weakness wise, this team just lacks like a lot of the like Omega really hard hitters. Obviously, you have your first three picks,
Yeah.
but obviously because you wanted to keep it very open for which Terra captains you want to bring each week, you're kind of missing some of those like a little more of those like extra hard hitters. Uh,
Yeah, I see that.
so it might be like a little hard to choose who you want for each week. You have your main three, mainstays, but it does allow your team to be a little more versatile. But sometimes you might just get out, out stats. Like some Pokemon are just have better stats because of the fact that you decided to keep a little more like Terra Captain points wise. But that's the only
Yeah.
main weakness I think I could see.
Yeah, I agree with that. To bring a greater sports analogy to this is a very deep squad that 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 doesn't necessarily have a large amount of top end talent.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But I still think it's a very strong team overall. Just doesn't necessarily have a large amount of those large threats that you have to like fully game plan around. Just has a lot of very solid, good Pokemon that can support each other well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I definitely get where you're coming from.
Yeah. Moving on to our next team, the Indiana Infernape's, another newcomer with Coral Sensei as the coach for this team.
Yeah, leading off his draft with that mascot Infernape, which you talked about earlier, also featuring one of the deadliest combos in singles Pokemon right now, or Caledon plus Pelipper, or also adding i- an powerful unaware hazard setter in Clodsire, a great rapid spinner in Donphan, and Bellybolt, who's just such a bulky Terra captain, and this rain focused team looks very interesting.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
kind of like a nasty rain team. I mean, you got Swift Swim, Barraskewda.
Yeah, Barraskewda Swift Swim can outspeed so much.
Yeah,
it's
Bears
His
and
Scream
Barracuda just hits like a
too.
truck too.
Yeah, those stab liquidations can go insane sometimes.
Scizor no longer has to be afraid of fire types. Like he can just thrive in this environment. I feel like Sligo gets something here. Let me see. Hydration Sligo. I mean, can prevent you from getting status. That could also
Um,
be like a little niche.
Yeah, Sligo is also
uh,
one of course his Terra captains.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Just a warning though. Hisuian Sliggoo does not get hydration. Only
Oh,
regular Sliggoo does.
Ah,
interesting.
thank you. We'll fix
Uh,
that in editing.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, I gotta say, Galvantula is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time.
Hmm.
Love
Yeah,
that
Galvantula
thing.
is really good. And it can set up sticky webs, and with the ability Compound Eyes, it can let off so many thunders, not even Thunderbolt. And it's just a swarm, which could be useful provided that Galvantula lives a move.
Yeah.
Um, it has Light Screen. It has Volt Switch, so it can be a valuable pivot as well.
It also gets infestation. Trapping a Pokemon in, being able to switch in something that just completely walls it is very valuable.
Yeah. It also has Giga Drain, allowing
Yeah.
it to kind of restore some health,
Yeah. And on this team,
as
you
well as
got
Thunder Wave as well, to just get that really
Yeah.
that sometimes crucial paralysis.
yeah, you got some good
Yeah. And
overall decent bulk too. You got your Donphan, Stealth Rock, is sturdy. Aftermath Skunk Tank if you're feeling it. Belly Bolt also has just amazing bulk.
yeah, Belly Bolt, I think, is one of the biggest sleepers of this draft. I think this thing is just. It's so bulky. It's one of. I just think it's one of the best eligible users of terrestrialization that is here, and it can sustain itself so well and just build up its power with electromorphosis while doing so.
Yeah,
I
Electromorphosis plus Slack Off, as well as letting out thunders in the rain, could be a really dangerous combo.
Hmm.
yeah,
Provided,
setting up the raid and then letting Belly Bolt and Orkeldon run around is not to mention that Barraskewda is just very terrifying.
yeah.
Now we've talked about how strong this team is. Now, what do we think are some things that it lacks?
Other than Pelipper, I don't really see a good reliable way to set up weather. Because like if Pelipper goes down, I feel like a lot of the team kind of suffers if it's relying on rain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, other than like Pelipper and Infernape, I don't see that much it could do to like strong grass types.
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, Stun Tank does get Flamethrower. I
True.
usually
Yeah.
see that. Um, yeah,
Yeah. I'm kind of
Grace.
surprised not to see Terra Fire on that Scum Tank.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a poison type, so poison already does naturally good against grass type.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
the Ghost Terra is a little interesting. I guess to avoid some of your dark weaknesses, but
Yeah. Even or even just use to cancel out possible rapid spins
hmm
after like Cloud set stuff up.
yeah. Clodsire with access to, I'm pretty sure it gets Stealth Rocks, as well as for sure Spikes and Toxic Spikes.
Yeah, I think it gets all three.
Yeah, with Koro Sensei having access to all four hazards, that can be a really good. That could be another possible win condition with just so much hazard stacking that he
Yeah.
just gets everything up.
Yeah, just think overall, this is one of the scariest teams to possibly run into. It just, I feel one area of concern here is that it's a very specialized team. Whereas, like, if you can manage to neutralize the rain, will it really fare as well? Is the question.
Yeah. I could still see this team kind of running without a rain mode, though. Like Infernape, our Archelon on its own isn't half bad
Oh yeah, it's a good Pokemon.
without rain.
you can still run Mental Herb, Electro Shot.
Yeah.
Donphan can work out pretty well. Dindor doesn't really need the rain to do its thing. And then Skuntank can also hit kind of powerful special
Yeah.
moves, especially with access to Terra.
Um, I also love how this is a team that clearly had a well-constructed plan in mind, and it's made with the highest point value Pokemon being Infernape at 15 points. Nothing 16 points or higher is even on this roster, which is very
Yeah,
interesting.
a very economic team, I will say.
Yeah. Now here we are looking at Marcus's rose-tinted lenses, led by the initial pick of Quaquaval along with its dancing cousin Volcarona, Terracat and Vivian as the round 2 pick along with Whimsicott. Amoonguss is always a menace. The mighty King Gambit is here, though without Terra. Gargantical and just a swarm of bug types in the aforementioned Volcarona and Vivian along with Ribombi and Lokix. Not even to mention Landorus. I think this is a very interesting team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this team is gonna be dancing in your face, breaking it down. But this team is kind of Omega weak to fire types. Like
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
the
you got
only Pokemon that
Houndoom, I guess, to flash fire, but like I don't
I
know.
guess
yeah,
Quaquaval and Garg.
Houndoom, Quaquaval, and Guard are really kind of saving this team against a good fire type attacker.
I guess Lando as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, but Grand doesn't exactly resist fire, so
Yeah.
it's just a good switch in.
Yeah, this is I was surprised seeing so many bug types on one team here.
Yeah, looking back at it now, I didn't realize Marcus drafted 4 bug types on his team.
Yeah,
I mean, those bug types do have rose tinted lenses. I don't know.
true.
Also, on the sheets, it says he has negative 10 points for Terra points.
Yeah, I don't know why it says that. It's just a weird glitch.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is not correct.
But yeah, I mean, King Gambit, obviously, just a master in OU. A
Yeah,
good
it'll be interesting seeing
last
it
race.
performing without terrestrialization this time around, though.
That is true.
Field Dark is still pretty good defensively, though, I will say.
Yeah, just mainly looking out. I mean, fighting types are a big thing to look out for.
Yeah, fighting and ground are really going to be its big threats here. As well as the occasional fire type move.
Yeah, well, that fire weakness is here through a lot of this team.
Yeah. I will say, Quiverdance Vivian is probably one of the best Terra captains here on the draft league.
Yeah, honestly, I think Whimsicott is a really good Terra Captain, too. Terra Captains, I think, are a big strength for this team.
Hmm.
In general, I mean, Terra Fairy, Stealing, Ghost Whimsicott, and Flying Grounding Ghost Vivian are just... There's just so much that terrestrialization and could do just to help with resistances and just boosting things like alongside that quiver dance on Vivian, like you were saying.
Yeah. Vivian also has the access to the ability Compound Eyes, so if it could more reliably use an inaccurate move like Hurricane, causing it to deal way more damage, especially with Quiverdance boosts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, I don't remember off the top of my head. Since Sheer Force is banned on Landorus Incarnate, what's the other ability it gets again? Is it Sand Force?
Yeah.
Sand Force. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess maybe that and Gargantical has some pretty good synergy.
Yeah, the only thing is, I don't know if Marcus has a good actual Sandstorm setter to take
Can Ribombi
advantage.
set Sand?
I'm not sure, but I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he might have to use a move slot on either Garg or Landorus in order to really take advantage of a possible stand
Mm-hmm.
mode
Yeah.
with those 2 Pokemon. As well as King Gambit.
Hmm.
Yeah, although Garg, if set up correctly, could be very dangerous.
Yeah, Earthquake, Body Press, Recover is a tried and true set that has
Yeah,
played many a noob.
not to mention just the sheer usefulness of Salt Cure, especially with how much the Steel type is running around in particular as of now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is team. If set up correctly, it could do some damage, but it's one of the biggest boomer bust teams in the draft.
Yeah, for sure.
And now, looking at your team, Armando, led by Rillaboom and one of the most intriguing Terra captains in Malamar, you have Greninja, Heatran, Cleavor, Galarian Weezing, Terra Captain Ursaling, Salamence, and you can't forget the sweeper himself, Volbeat. I want to hear your thoughts on your team construction here.
So overall, I think my draft went fantastic. It went better than I even thought it could. So, I mean, I picked up Heatran, which was not in my plan, but I saw it was still there. I needed a fire type and steel type. Works perfect.
Bringing back the Decidueye Dominion duo.
Absolutely. The Heatran Rillaboom. Kyle, this is for you. You know, obviously you can see the undersets of a Unburden team going on here. We got Hitmonlee, Drifblim with Unburden. Can be triggered by both either Rillaboom or Galarian Weezing with Misty Surge if I want to just worry about status afflicting my team.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the tendency towards Unburden, which is one of the reasons I was pretty surprised that you didn't end up taking Sneasler.
See, like, Sneasler is a good mon, but if I won using Sneasler, I would not feel good. But if I won using Hitmonlee, though, holy, I'm popping off with Hitmonlee. But, you know, my Terra Captains, you know, Malamar, Contrary, Superpower, got the Terra Fighting, fantastic. The Terra Stellar also just fits really well.
Oh, yeah. This, I think, is just one of the best users of Stellar Terra in the entire game.
Yeah.
My other Terra Captain, Ursaring, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, gets Guts. Terra Normal, Ghost, Ground, because I didn't really have too many ground types other than Wishcash. I was a little slow on getting a Dragon type, but the one I got, Salamence, I can't complain. I mean, Moxie, Intimidate, it's got it all. It can be a setup sweeper, it can be bulky with Roost.
Yeah, I mean, you got a pseudo legendary round 10. I mean, that's just good value no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
And then obviously my mascot, Greninja himself, Protean, can switch into any type that he has access to. Battle Bond, if I pick up an early kill, can just start to sweep and pick up as many kills as he can get while he lives. Wishcash was probably like the most unfortunate part of my draft because I realized I didn't have a ground type, but Wishcash kind of packing some heat. You know, it's got Stealth Rock, got Spikes. It's got some interesting setup moves. You know, Dragon Dance. Obviously Stab, Earthquake. You know, Stab. I think it gets Liquidation. Let me double check that.
It's good.
I would assume it gets a good, strong physical move.
I think it gets Wave
Aquatail,
Crash, does it not?
at least. Does it get Wave
Wave
Crash?
Crash?
It's Waterfall.
Oh, I'm surprised it doesn't get Wave Crash. Weird.
It does not get Wave Crash. They nerfed my boy. Anyways. But obviously we also got the boy himself, Sweeper Volbeat, back for another season.
Love to see this legend return.
Tail Glow, Infestation, if I want to trap something in, you know, let him go down, bring something in to start sweeping up in front of it. Cleavor, which is one of the best hazard setters because he does damage while he's setting up his hazards. Really good stab for Bug. It's got Sharpness, Swarm. I forget what his other ability is off the top of my head. I could probably check. But I mean, overall, I'm like really happy with my draft.
It's not Sharpness, is it?
I said Sharpness. What's the third one I'm missing of?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Sheer Force, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Galarian Weezing, my boy Doug Dimmadome himself. Really bulky, gets Pain Split. Can completely nullify your ability if that's an issue for me.
Yeah, neutralizing gas is just such a fun meta call that I just always love to see no matter what.
But yeah, overall, I'm like really happy with my draft. I will say one of the main weaknesses is that my team is very naturally slow. Obviously, I got you know unburdened mons like Hitmonlee and Drifblim, but my fastest mon being like Greninja, which base speed is it's like 120ish, 122. A lot of Pokemon can pretty easily speed creep and knock out Greninja, so I'm relying a bit more on my bulk, you know, a bit more on my setup speed, you know, my unburdened mons. But
yeah, you're definitely very vulnerable to to speed creeping, you do have unburden, which I really like. Like I really like just having can be activated mid game way to get around one of your weaknesses, which I really applaud you on. But again, does require some setup on your end that you might not necessarily always be able to get off.
Hmm. But yeah, I still got a good bit of natural bulk to upset that. Even if I'm not faster, I'm still probably going to be outliving. Heatran, Rillaboom, Weezing, all good defensive mons. But
Yeah. What do you think about this team, Daniel?
I think it's pretty good. Malamar being really beneficial of Stellar Terra with Contrary. Ursaring as a good Guts user, but it could also use Eviolite. Salamence, a very powerful Pokemon, can either intimidate on you or just set up and snowball with Moxie. Cleavor, a very reliable rocks better. Heatran, always a great defensive utility mon that can also pack very powerful Storm, Blast Cannon, Body Press. Greninja is probably a good cleanup sweeper. Rillaboom, as mentioned earlier, with that grassy terrain, team support. Hitmonlee can run some interesting things, say for instance with Grassy Seed, so can Drifblim with Unburden. Yeah, overall, I'd say a pretty good team.
Yeah, definitely a very solid team. Again, another one that I love to see just put together with a clear plan in mind. Okay, so coming next, we're moving on to our next team, the New York Glimettes, formerly known as Team JMAZ. Adding name in, and I think this team is definitely one of the most interesting teams in the drafts. I mean, looking at it right off the bat, you have so many powerhouses like Iron Valiant, Zapdos, Hisuian Samurai, Chi-Yu, Excadrill, Excalibur, but then the points started running out, and a lot of low point budget picks had to be made earlier than anticipated for JMAZ. What do you guys think
Yeah,
about this team?
this team, I'd say, is is both a hydrogen bomb and a coughing baby.
It's a good way of putting it.
This team has so many crazy threats, but then as points started to run low, we just have so many like babies that might not really amount to much. So if you're prepping against JMAS, I would expect mainly to see that upper half Pokemon to show up, maybe one or two of those lower points as surprise Terra Captain.
Yeah, I mean, right now Knuckles Tech is a Terra Captain with Rock, Water, and Fairy, and also it's not on the draft board. It's not on the draft board right now, but Glimmet Poison Grass Rock is also a second Terra Captain for JMAZ.
yeah, it's an interesting team because there is like an insane amount of threats, but considering it's a draft format, if you prep for every single one of those strong threats, in theory, you shouldn't really be losing, unless obviously J matches get some good reads, some good plays. But like strong Pokemon alone, if you just prep for them, I find it like hard to be able to lose to the team. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of other options outside of those like top 6 or 7, I mean, Knuckles Tech could definitely be annoying to deal with, but I feel it doesn't really do that much on its own overall.
Yeah, Knucklesack is obviously the pre-evolution of Garganical, but it still has access to moves like Curse, Earthquake, uh, Salt Cure,
Yeah, obviously Salt
and
Cure.
Recovery as well.
You could also
So
probably
Plus
set up
Eviolite.
a Sandstorm for Excadrill if you want to sweep that way.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that I could
Eviolite
definitely see
also just
happening.
adds to its bulk. However, with something like Garganical, you could usually use leftovers for recovery and just rely on Garganical's natural bulk. But I still think that Eviolite plus like any real kind of wall set could still pack a decent punch.
Yeah, and also looking at these lower tier mons on the New York limits, I think the team mascot limit also warrants some attention, given that it may be a 1 point baby, but this thing has 105 special attack stat.
Yeah, really crazy for a little baby here, but however, its speed stat isn't really that much to
Yeah.
worry about there.
Yeah, with the base 60 speed, I mean, it could outspeed some things in the draft, but I don't know. By the time it gets out, it's gonna have to run a focus sash, or it might just die turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, looking at like the rest of his draft, like the good part of his draft, I mean, Hisui and Samurott, one of the best, if not the best, like hazard setter with Ceaseless Edge. Zapdos, a fantastic bulky Pokemon, gets Roost, discharge 30% to paralyze. Uh, Also gets Defog. Our Iron Valiant, we talked about before, is just a monster in singles. Chi-Yu,
Yeah.
a monster in doubles, but also, has its own merit in singles as well.
Yeah, Chiyu
Yeah.
is just immensely powerful. It may only be able to use its Beat of Ruins for itself, but that's still a extremely powerful special attacking threat that's just put on the board, especially if you have, especially with some mechanism of adding Sun to it, which is why I'm very surprised by J-Maz's post-draft decision to swap out the Torkoal that was originally drafted for a Hydrapple. What do you guys
Mhm.
think of that?
yeah. Admittedly, I think that was a kind of strange decision. I feel like Torkoal Chi-Yu would have been an incredible combo for him, but he, maybe he just didn't want to have to worry about sun all the time and have to fight against other weather users.
Yeah, because like the rest of
Yeah, that's fair.
JMS's team isn't really like built with like a Sun team in mind. Like maybe JMS just
Mhm.
thought it would be better to just forfeit the Sun team and go for something a little more general. I mean, Hydrop was still good, I forget,
I definitely think it's
Fickle Beam,
underrated.
30% chance to be like 160 base power is insane. It gets Regenerator as well. Like this thing is still pretty good. Just quad weak to ice is main drawback.
Yeah. PU in singles, I usually feel runs around like 3-ish sets. Usually either Specs, Scarf, or the occasional Nasty Plot set.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
all three of those sets are really formidable in their own way, being fast, powerful, and with Nasty Plot having the ability to set up. It's just a crazy combination of sets that your opponent will definitely have to team builder.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. So, so synergy-wise, how do you think? Synergy-wise, what are your guys' thoughts on how the Mons on this team work together?
Hmm. I feel like Zapdos covers a lot of the weaknesses that like Chi-Yu Excadrill has. They're not worried about getting earthquaked when you got Zapdos in the back. Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or water types even.
I mean,
If you
he's
get
got all
screwed
like
off by that.
the portions of a single team you want. I just don't know if they like work like better together. Like they're all really good like individually, but I just don't know if there's any like synergy as it would be.
Yeah, I
Mm,
feel like Extra Drill is kind of like an outlier here. While it is a good ground type, it kind of relies heavily on like a sand setter for it,
Hmm.
which doesn't really strike out to me with Jam as having apart from that potential knuckle stack. I think something like Tyranitar or possibly even Sandaconda would have been a bit more well suited for
Yeah,
Extra
this
Drill, to be
Excadrill is
honest with
kind
you.
of just forced to run Mold
mm.
Breaker pretty much.
Yeah, and this Excadrill was, I also like to point out, was also another post-draft swap. This slot was originally taken by Landorus Therian.
Yeah, I think like probably Landorus is probably better in the long run.
I
Yeah.
mean, I guess Excadrill does have Rapid Spin, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if Glimmet gets access to Mortal Spin. Does not. So that's
It
really
does.
Jamaz's only form of removal.
It does not.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so I think Excadrill was probably kind of needed just to fill the removal niche
Hmm.
Yeah, but singles hazards can mean a lot
here. Yeah.
in games, especially with switching Pokemon out a lot more often.
And honestly, just on the stats alone, I mean, Excadrill's still no slouch. I mean, Sand is what really enables it, but it's still a solid mon even without it.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, overall, I think this is definitely one of the most interesting teams, especially with just how top heavy it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think you're going to be seeing probably like the same 6 to 8 Pokemon being used throughout the season. I feel.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now going from one very interesting team to another, the Long Island Gastrodons, a fan favorite, coached by Mike from season 1, coached by Mike Jewell, who returned with the first round pick Gastrodon once again, but also so has some very interesting options such as the Ursaluna Blood Moon and the Walking Wake. What do you guys think about what do you guys think about the outlook of this team?
Yeah, this time around, Jewel once again employed a very similar strategy in draft to what he did last time, where it was like conserving his points towards the beginning, and then picking up a lot of the scraps of the high point Pokemon towards the end.
Yeah,
I'm,
for sure.
I'm gonna say it. I think Jewel cooked. I don't know. Like there is a very good like Trick Room team going on here. I mean, Charizard with Terra type no longer have to worry about getting Stealth Rocked and like immediately losing half of its health. Like interesting like Sun portion if he wants to run it. I don't really know if anything can get Sunny Day than like Charizard here, but I
Uh,
mean,
Porygon might. I could
let me
be
see.
wrong.
Yeah, Porygon 2, I think, is the main thing I was kind of confused about with his team. I know he needed, I know he needed a Trick Room setter, but other than just setting up
Oh, it
Trick
does get
Room
Sunny
and
Day.
being able to take
Yeah,
hits, I'm
Porygon 2
just like,
does get
what
Sunny
does it
Day.
do?
I mean, it is a very very bulky mon with Eviolite. This
Yeah,
thing stays on the field.
It
I
feels
love Porygon too. If he didn't pick it up, I was gonna pick it up. But I mean, yeah, it gets Trick
yeah, I
Room,
just
gets
feel
Sunny Day.
that I just feel that it just sets things up and it takes a lot of hits, but after setting it up, you just want to switch it out, and then what really would reason would you have to like put it back in?
Well, I mean,
Is kind of
Porygon
my
is
feeling.
very good at toxic stalling. It kind of can just hit you with a status move if it wants to do like also what's the move I'm thinking of? Try attack. Either try
yeah,
attack be annoying. It can toxic
Yeah.
stall in front of you. It could do some interesting trick shenanigans. I mean, this thing is bulky, but it could also just also stall you out and kill you for it.
That's a
yeah.
good point. Yeah.
Base
Yeah,
105 special attack stat is nothing to slap at either.
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, this thing definitely has good synergy with that Ursaluna Blood Moon that Jewel picked in round 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
And
will
even
say
the
there are like
Ogerpon
three
Heart
normal
Flame.
types. Oh, yeah, Ogerpon Hearth Flame is also really good.
Yeah,
And
Hearthflame is the one Ogerpon form that is currently in Uber,
Hmm.
so it's definitely the most threatening out of the 4 Ogerpon forms. However, due to the way
Doesn't
that
have
this
the
draft is
Terra.
structured, I have access to Terra, so no embody aspect attack boost for it.
yeah, which the absence of that is pretty big on this Pokemon, but it's still a powerful legendary for a reason. And I'd also like to draw attention to the Rotom Wash, which I feel is just one of the best pivots available in this draft.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That thing very strong, and the Walking Wake can also take advantage of Sun as well, and is a massive
Oh
threat.
yeah, Walking Wake in the Sun. Yeah, this is like you can run Sun, Trick Room. Oh my god, what does Hoopa do? I'm curious. I've never really seen Hoopa used.
Yeah, and this is regular Hoopa, not Hoopa Unbound.
Hmm.
Unbound went undrafted.
Yeah, Hoopa is just like a special threat. It can really just like hit you hard, but it's not very fast. But it still has a lot of special moves that it can use to just hit you and hit you well. With even some
Mhm.
coverage like Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Grass Knot and Thunderbolt.
Yeah, I mean, I guess given with how many normal types Jewel has, I mean, this thing is a very good answer to fighting types.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing also gets like some interesting like niche moves. You know, Destiny Bond, Trick, Psychic Noise, which is like really good against like stall teams.
Yeah, I like Psychic Noise a lot.
It gets I think double screens. Uh, oh, never mind. That's only for
No, it
unbound
does.
form.
It has reflected light screen.
Yeah, and I was just looking at some of these moves, like the
Yeah,
hyperspace
and its
moves.
signature move of Hyperspace Hold does break protection, too.
That could be really good
Yeah.
against like gouging fire. But
Yeah.
also gets Sunny Day, so if he doesn't run on
And Trick
Porygon.
Room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Hoopa's got some potential here. It's just like 70 base speed. That's its main drawback here.
It could
Yeah,
even
Hoopa-
possibly run a physical
Hoopa
summon if it
Terragant?
wanted to. Yes, it is for a very good reason. It's Terragant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, no, being quad weak to dark is an interesting crutch to have. But yeah, other than that, there's like a lot of bulk on this team. I mean, you got
I mean,
the tried and true
Blissey and
Blissey.
Mimikyu.
Like, yeah, and Mimikyu pretty much gets a free swords dance in front of your face. Also gets Trick
Yeah,
Room.
and the Gastrodon, like we talked about earlier, which is also a Terra Captain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Jewel cooked. Like, it's weird to say, but Jewel cooked. Toxtricity
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
just a matter of seeing how it's piloted now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fan favorite is definitely a contender for most improved, I think.
Draft wise,
Without
yeah,
a doubt.
definitely.
Yeah.
You know, good stuff.
Yeah, what do we think are the main weaknesses of this team?
I think actually I don't know. I guess speed. Because if you don't get Trick Room up, there's not like that many fast Pokemon on this team. That are like
Yeah.
excellent fast.
Ogerpon and
Yeah.
Walking Wake are really the only ones. I'd
Yeah,
say.
and those two are what? Let's see. Walking Wake is 109 and Ogerpon is 110. So yeah, faster than 110, like that's a good majority of like the strong sweepers in this game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and also the aforementioned and stocking up on normal types could lead a strong fighting type to possibly wreak havoc as long as it doesn't run into that Hoopa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hoopa is kind of Hoopa and Mimikyu are like the main fighting type switch-ins.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah, the Long Island Gastrodons are looking very interesting this season. And now we're looking at Persona Ferret, who we already talked about the king pick of the first round, which was that Terra Captain Ferret. But the rest of this team is a pretty interesting one with threats like Roaring Moon, Alolan Ninetales, and Dragonite. Yuxi fills a phenomenal defensive role. Iron Boulder late round coming out. I mean, I think this team has a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It has a lot of threatening Pokemon with like Roaring Moon, Dragonite, Iron Boulder, Galarian Moltres too can do some
Yeah, with
things if
Berserk.
you let it sit there. Yeah. And then there's a lot of defensive Pokemon like Alolan Ninetales providing Aurora Veil and Uxie also providing dual screens. There's also Clefable, which is really annoying if you don't know how to deal with it. And then Jirachi, we can just cheese the hell out of you with things like Serene Grace, Iron Head, and Zen Headbutt.
Yeah, and other than Ferret, I've noticed that the other Terra Captain, Terra Captain Swamp Boss is bringing is Leafeon with Grass, Dark, and very interestingly Rock type Terra, which I find to be a very interesting choice.
Yeah, looking on the outside in, I'm not really too sure about that Rock Terra, but I'm sure he has something planned with that.
Does Leafeon get any good rock moves?
Not a single
Um,
one. I'm looking
Wow.
through. It gets ground type moves, but not a single rock type
Hmm.
move. So it has to be some defensive weakness that I'm not seeing.
apart from fire, I don't really see anything else.
Yeah.
I
It
guess
does get a
bug.
luring
I don't know.
voice.
It does get
Interesting.
a learning boost, yeah. I mean, Leafeon on its own is like has really good like coverage, really decent defenses. Both of its abilities rely on Sun, which is a little unfortunate. But I mean, there's like an interesting Sun portion to be had here. You know,
Yeah, with
Galarian
Roaring Moon
Moltres, Roaring
especially.
Moon,
Yeah, I'm
Ninetales
just not
there,
sure.
not so much, but
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm seeing the makings of a Suncore, but I think that really kind of like runs counterintuitive to wanting to set up with Alolan Ninetales, though.
hmm
Yeah.
But if you could get that thing set up, I think Alolan Ninetales is the best screen setter in this draft.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, just being able to put up both screens in one turn with Aurora Veil is just really useful because you can use that extra turn to let off a Moonblast, a Blizzard, something very
30% chance
powerful
to
like that.
freeze. We saw how Marcus used that
And
last
if you're
season.
in snow, if you're in snow, that blizzard becomes a lot more accurate, and Ninetales' defense is further buffed.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see what Swamp Buzz does with Furret, but otherwise, I mean, I just feel it's a solid team around there.
hmm
What are we thinking weakness-wise? I mean, the main thing I was seeing was that mm, lack of weather synergy between Ninetales and the Roaring Moon and Leafeon.
No ghost type. And
Oh yeah,
that.
that is a very good point.
Another also interesting thing to note is no grounded poison type.
Mm,
So his only way of removing toxic spikes, I think, is just tidy up Furret.
Yeah, other than Furret,
uh,
this team is very
Dragonite
hazard
gets
vulnerable.
defog, I think. I'm pretty sure Dragonite gets defog.
I don't think
In this
anymore.
gen,
I don't think anymore.
I know a lot of things that used to get defog don't get it anymore.
Okay, let me check if it gets it this gen.
Does not. Does not.
Doesn't? Okay, never mind then.
So yeah, hazards are definitely going to be an issue for this team.
hmm
Which that is a big problem, but I mean, they're just uh, a lot of strong Pokemon here. I think this is going to be a team that just wants to push the pace against you and not have it be as drawn out.
Yeah, power through the hazards in the stall and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
can definitely see that.
Yeah, and then that brings us to the Baneful Bayonets making a return after a very successful season 1, coached by M. Glasgow is a first round pick, and it's supported with Iron Treads, Latios, Terrakion, and Bundle, which that's a lot of really strong Pokemon. Toxapex is another staller too, and the two Terra captains, Scovillain and Pikachu, I think are very interesting choices. What do you guys think about this team?
Yeah. I think Pikachu, in the right scenario, can do a ton of work, especially with Light Ball buffing both its attack and special attack, making Pikachu's Thunderbolt rival that of Thunderous Therian is just a crazy stack to me.
That is actually an insane comparison, yeah. I mean,
However, there's also a ton of other threats like Latios, Iron Bundle, Terrakion, Iron Treads being great with both setting and removing hazards. Salazzle and Toxapex are a really annoying toxic stall core, along with the fact that Gliscor is there and exists on this team. M could have both a stall mode and a hyper offense mode, which can really scare any possible opponents that they might face.
mhm.
Yeah, honestly, I think this team is one of my favorites to win it all, I feel. I just think this is like a really good team set up for success in multiple situations.
Yeah, lots of different modes it can run. I mean, you got Shell Smash Guys, very scary. Uh, Overall, pretty decent. Terra Captains Pikachu, obviously, probably one of the best, if not the best one pointer. Scovillain is also really good. I think both of its abilities either rely on Sun or are moody. Let me see. Oh, it gets Insomnia, so no more Darkrai, anyways. But Latios, Terrakion, Iron Bundle, all very good, solid Pokemon. This team is also built very much to stall you out and make sure you don't
Yeah.
have a good day. But overall, a good team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very strong. And honestly, I'm struggling to think of like major weaknesses here.
Psychic Noise.
True. Yes.
Yeah,
Glasscore hates that.
Gliscor doesn't like
And
that.
Toxapex.
Yeah, Salazzle and Toxapex won't really like that too much.
Although
Especially because they
Salazzle is
can't
a
Terra.
very underrated attacker too.
I think. Hmm.
Oh yeah, there is no Dark type on this team, so like nothing is really wants
Yeah.
to take a Psychic type hit. Other than I
Yeah,
guess
and
Latios
as
because
of
he
right now,
resists
at
it.
least neither of the Terra Captains have it too.
Hmm.
Yeah, Latios could probably take it well.
Hmm.
Yeah, but apart from that, not pretty dark week, I'd say.
Yeah, but overall, just such a strong team in so many different ways.
Yeah, of course.
So powerful. And bringing us to our third to last team, one of our newcomers, the Agents of Shieldon, coached by Taboo, boasting the highly coveted Golden Glow Glamora core, supporting with Grimmsnarl, as Pathra I think can be terrifying. Screamtail again as an extra support alongside Grimmsnarl, and 3 Terra Captains with Toadscruel, Ampharos, and Tropius. This team I think is also an interesting one.
Yeah, Golden Glow Gamora is arguably one of the best cores in the entire game. Glamora can just set so many hazards. It can set toxic spikes with its ability and manually. It can set stealth rocks. It can set regular spikes. And then as long as Golden goes alive, those hazards will most likely stay up for the entirety of the game due to its ability good as gold, making it and its type combination, making it immune to every viable form of hazard removal in the game. Another really threatening core here is Grimmsnarl and Espathra. As someone who used Espathra in a previous draft, that thing can do a lot. With speed boost and opportunist as its abilities, Espathra can hide behind screens, set up a sub, get that speed boost up, and just pack on Calm Minds until it stored powers you into oblivion.
Yes, Pathra
Screamtail
is very scary.
Screamtail is also pretty useful here with another dual screen setter and access to wish support. While also being pretty fast, Screamtail can prove as a viable substitute to Grimmsnarl if Iron chooses not to bring it.
Yeah.
Another thing as well, his Terra Captain Tropius is a fiend in random battles. If you play random battles and you see your opponent have a Tropius or you have a Tropius, you don't usually think you're in for a good time.
Yeah, Tropius is interesting. It does also have defog, which is definitely an important move to have given the prevalence of hazards here.
It's also got some
Yeah.
good like pivoting move against U-turn. Like
Yeah, yeah, I like the moves it gets. The problem with Tropius is the stats.
mhm. Yeah, 51 base speed, no bueno. But I mean, there's just a lot of setup sweepers on this team. I mean, you got Manaphy with obviously Tail Glow. You got Cerule Edge, Sword Stance, Espathro can Calm Mind, Stored Power you. Grimmsnarl gets Bulk Up. Golden Go almost always wants to Nasty Plot and then just make it rain. Like, there's a lot of very scary Pokemon.
Yeah, also, honestly, I think Steel Terra Toadscruel is kind of terrifying as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, it still does retain that fire weakness. However, ground stab can still do a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think Toadscruel, especially with Terra eligible, is just a pretty slept on option too.
Hmm.
Yeah. Manaphy's also very scary. Although it doesn't have access to Take Heart, it still has access to Calm Mind. And I think Tail Glow as well, being really, really scary.
Yes, it does have Tail Glow.
Oh, it has 100 stats across the board, like a lot of the mythicals.
Mew?
Mew 2? Oh wait, Mew 3?
Or even 4.
Oh my goodness. Are we sure it doesn't get heart swap, or is that just banned in singles?
Take Heart, you mean?
Oh, take heart. Never mind. I thought heart swap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
Take
does have
Heart's
Take
Different
banned.
heart.
but
Different heart.
It is banned, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Take Heart's banned in our league.
Yeah. Well, it's not banned on Fion, but no one drafted it, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, this team is very scary, and I will not be surprised if this team is the one to win it all.
Yeah, just with the first 2 picks alone, it makes it a very big threat.
I mean, yeah, that's just one of the best duos you could like ask for.
Mm-hmm.
For this. And now looking at our reigning champions, the Drunken Dracovish, coached by Joe, starting with Gouging Fire and Corviknight, already off to a very good bulky start. Primarina and Crocodile. Jolteon is a very good Terra captain. You see Deoxys Defense further adding to that bulk, and the Alolan Golem and Pignite taking the last Terra captain spots, along with a pretty underrated Scyther pick, too. This team has a lot of interesting threats.
Yeah. This team is like extremely bulky with Gouging Fire, Corviknight, Primarina holding a good special bulk, and Deoxys Defense. It's just a really good defensive core that Joe has access to here. Not to mention the offensive threats like Jolteon, Chinchino with now access to tidy up, um, and some Terra Galvanized shenanigans with a Alolan Golem there.
Yeah, another very strong Terra captain pick. pick. Also going as Joe, just going as Joe just kind of terrifies me because I think he's like possibly like just the most intelligent player here in terms of just battle IQ. Like he'll just surprise you with something that like you could like never possibly been expecting coming out of the blue and getting it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't mention this before, but Terra Ice Jolteon is also really scary, with a very fast Bolt Beam coverage, having basically unresisted stabs here with Thunderbolt and Terra Blast Ice.
Yeah, if you want to Terra for offense, I think Jolteon's one of the best Terra captains.
Yeah, base 130 speed, like you are eating that hit no matter what. You gotta find something to switch in.
Yeah, basically you kind of just have to get the read right on whether he's gonna Terra Blast Ice or Thunderbolt on that turn if he does choose that Terra type as his option.
Yeah, it's a very interesting team. Also, that Scyther could do some surprise damage too. For round 11 pick, that is great value.
I mean, Eviolite with Roost, Scyther is the exact same exact stat total as Scizor, and Scizor's
Yeah, just distributed differently.
Yeah,
Technician.
Scyther also with Sword Dance Technician Dual Wingy. That can also pack a crazy punch with very good physical flying stab.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention like a stab X scissor or anything else you might want.
Yes, absolutely.
Honestly, I find it surprising that all 3 members of the Scyther family got drafted this time around.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, they're 3 very good Pokemon. I don't I don't blame people for doing it. Yeah. What do you think this team? What do you think are some things this team needs to look out for?
Hmm. Maybe like again either psychic noise, but obviously now you got crocodile on this team, but also like maybe some taunt users, like preventing some of the shenanigans happening, stopping these
Yeah,
Pokemon from
probably.
setting up.
I'd say also some Pokemon that have moves that break through protect.
Hmm.
Like Iron Boulder from Swamp Boss can do a crazy amount of damage on Gouging Fire.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, this team has a strong defensive core, but something just manages to break through. It could possibly snowball unless Joe wants to go all in on bulk with like Gouging Fire plus Corviknight plus Deoxys. But
Yeah.
but that would be a lot of team slots just to take up in one direction.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the hardest team to break through out of all the teams in this draft.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another contender for a favorite to take it all is this team right here.
No way.
We could see a repeat.
We could see a repeat, yeah. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Joe.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
can we talk about the 2-pointer Pig Knight? Like, I'm scared.
It's interesting.
That's a very Joe pick, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets thick
yeah.
fat, which is interesting. You like thick
Wait, it
fat? Like,
does?
yeah, I'm looking right now.
Yeah, thick
That's
fat,
interesting.
cursed.
It doesn't get reckless like Embor does.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could even see it kind of running a Blaze set pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
I can see that, yeah. It's Joe. He can make it work.
Yeah. Also, it could be another cheap sunny day user similar to the Vulpix he pulled last season.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is I'm not doubting anything picked by Joe.
I mean, it could run Focus Sash Endeavor, a budget fear team,
Yeah.
run for Pokemon, and Sucker Punch after. I don't know. You never really know when it comes to Joe.
Yeah.
Yep, that is true. And last but not least, you have the team built by yours truly, the Magikarp Mayhem. And first and foremost, I knew I wanted to build this team around Darkrai, and I felt that the single mon to pair best with Darkrai would be Galarian Slowking. Darkrai greatly appreciates entry hazard support, which Slowking provides with Toxic Spikes, and it can also remove them on the other end, being a grounded poison type. And with Chilly Reception, it's also a very strong pivot option, especially when used in conjunction and with a future side off of Slowking's Gargantuan's 110 special attack stat. I think this duo works really well together. But since I was more on the special side, I also felt I needed a physical wall breaker, and that's where the Ogerpon Wellspring pick comes in. And Latias, I took Latias mainly because I was surprised it's still available and it's very powerful. But Latias is also a good screen setter. It gets both screens. I like that a lot. The Dunsparce, I was eyeing a lot too, as both providing bulk and being being a stealth rocks and spike setter. And Metagross, I think I got a steal that late, and in general with my team construction, I wanted good steel and poison types just to build around Darkrai and covering for opposing fairy types. And then Hitmontop it's a good fighting type option, and it's my go-to rapid spinner on this team. my Terra captains here were Revavroom, Haunter, and Cacturn, and I think Revavroom's a very strong Terra captain, especially since that thing gets shift gear. I just think with a variety of types, this thing can be very versatile and dangerous.
Yeah,
And
Shift Gear Rev Room is scary, especially with
Yeah.
Terra.
Yeah, that was definitely something I had my eye on, and it fills my want for a good steel type, which is why I took that. That I also am very happy and planning to get a lot of use out of Haunter. I mean, Ghost Terra Haunter Shadow Ball just does massive damage, and unlike if I were to go for Gengar, not only do I get to Terra, but I keep Levitate as well, which is an extra bonus. And then Cacturn could either it could hit surprisingly hard, and it's a spike setter, which I also want to Ghost Terror on it partially for that reason too. And then and Ditto is just Break Glass in case of emergency, just really good as a matchup dependent option.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall, it's got like all the different parts you want in a single team. You got your spinner, your setup sweeper, your bulky mons. Ditto kind of just does it all. Trying to think weakness wise. I mean, it has bulky mons. I just don't know if it has anything to stop like a setup sweeper. Like if there's any Pokemon here
Yeah.
that like cancels out a setup sweeper. Other than I guess
Yeah, with
Ditto.
that,
Latios with its signature move Mist Ball. It does drop special attack, but
yeah.
that's really all I can think of off the top of my head.
You set up, and also I feel like I'm kind of relying a lot on Hitmontop in terms of hazard removal.
Yeah, unless you want to run Defog on Latios, unless it doesn't get it this gen too.
Yeah,
Check.
which I thought it did, but as I was checking team building, I think I saw that it actually does not this gen,
Yep.
which is
No
very
more.
unfortunate. Because I was operating under the assumption that I had it with it.
You can run Defog on Starly.
Yeah. Yeah, Starly, I believe, does get
Oh,
defog.
never mind. Just
Oh,
kidding.
it lost it this gen?
Just kidding.
Dang. Well, that's rough.
Yeah, no, it's just him on top, I guess, and I guess Reverie with Rapid Spin. Unless I'm also lying.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Hit Revervim does not get it.
Okay. So is your only way to remove things? Is it really only him on top?
I think so, which is pretty
Uh-oh.
dangerous, actually, yeah.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I guess I guess I can remove Toxic Spikes with Slowking.
And Rubber Room.
Yeah, and Vroom.
Man,
So I'm good against Toxic Spikes, but kind of vulnerable to the other hazards.
Yeah. I could definitely see hazards being something that works against you here.
Yeah. I mean, in general, this team was just pretty much built around the Darkrai Glow King combo.
I got
And I
that.
think we'll kind of live and die by that combo. And yeah, that is every team.
Yeah.
Ooh. Any closing remarks you guys would like to make as we head into the start of this season?
Overall, I'm really excited to see how the season plays out. Although not everyone will be fighting everyone else.
Yes, there are 8
some of these
this season.
Yeah, some of these matchups will definitely be interesting, and even if people want to try running their teams against their opponents that they don't end up fighting, they're always welcome to. If they
Yeah,
think it
having
will
some
be
exhibition
an interesting
matches.
matchup, yeah, I think it could be a very interesting matchup. Or some very interesting matchups that unfortunately were left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, and looking ahead to our week 1 schedule real quick, what do you think, what do you guys predict could be some of the standout could be some of the standout matchups of in our first week here?
M versus Hunter could definitely be very interesting. With M just having that crazy stall team and Hunter having a lot of game knowledge.
I mean, this is just 2 of the powerhouses.
Yeah.
Actually, yep. Yeah, that one. And Daniel, I'm also excited to see you against Levin, just because I think any match with Levin's going to be must watch with the metronome antics.
That will probably be fun. I just hope I don't get cheesed by some BS metronome stuff.
I mean, someone is gonna get. Someone is gonna take a surprising loss to that team. I can almost guarantee it.
I'm running the metronome ditto, so it might just be me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'll do it for the cause.
We greatly appreciate your sacrifice.
For the content.
For the content.
Also, I don't think anyone said this yet, but nice. Jules' first match is JMAS.
No way. I think my
Nice.
first match is GMS too.
JMS 2 Electric Boogaloo?
GMS squared. Man, very excited for all these teams, and we got a good assortment of people. I feel like varying levels of for singles experience, so it'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, I know for myself, I am much more versed in doubles than I am in singles, so this is going to be an interesting challenge.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, you're the singles expert here, Daniel.
Yeah, I kind of came into this knowing this, at least out of us three.
Yeah. Man, I'm very excited to see how things unfold.
Hmm.
And we
Yeah.
will see. We will see you soon with replay commentary of our week 1 matches. Looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
All right.
See you soon, hopefully.
This is Daniel,
Goodbye.
Cygnus and Armando signing off.
Goodbye.